Everyone will have understood that a variable price contract is the opposite of a fixed price contract, in the sense that the quantities exchanged are defined, which makes the seller and the buyer sure that the product will be traded, but where the prices are not. In other words, buyer and seller agree on a reference price that they will look at when the transaction will actually take place, that is, at T+N, once again for one or more deliveries. In this type of contract, the counterpart risk is null since the contract price is equivalent to the market price. On the other hand, there is a significant price risk, but it is easier to accept since there are financial derivatives that make it possible to manage it. These include futures contracts. Here you can see an example of a cobalt future contract traded on the London Metal Exchange. It is an exchange-traded and standardized contract that works in theory like a commercial contract. Physical delivery is possible, quantities, quality and maturity are defined. In practice, however, things don't always work out that way. Let's take an example to understand this. Consider a battery producer who on the 1st of March wants to set the price of cobalt that he must buy on the 1st of April. On that date, he finds a seller who is ready to supply him with the 10 tons he is looking for, but who does not wish to enter into a fixed price transaction. The producer has now secured his supply volume, but not his price. To do so, he will buy still on the 1st of March 10 cobalt 3 months futures contract, the quantity of cobalt per contract being 1 ton. We assume that the contract price is 31,000 USD per ton. On the 1st of April, two situations are possible in the physical market. The price of cobalt has gone up, let's say 35,000 USD per ton, or down, let's say 30,000 USD per ton. In both cases, this variation will have no impact on the effective purchase price of cobalt by the battery producer because of the hedging strategy he has put in place. The battery producer will, on the 1st of April, fulfill his purchase contract, which means that he will either suffer higher commercial prices, case 1, or benefit from lower prices, case 2. At the same time, he will resell the futures contract he bought on the 1st of March. He can do this because they have not expired, they are 3 months contracts, and because they are traded on the exchange, which means that there is always a clearinghouse to buy or sell. In the first case, he buys a future contract on the 1st of March at 31,000 USD and sell it at 35,000 USD, making a profit of 4,000 USD, which will be deducted from the higher commercial price of 35,000 USD. 35,000 USD minus 4,000 USD, the effective purchase price will be 31,000 USD, which is finally the T0 price. In the second case, he buys a future contract on the 1st of March at 31,000 USD and sell it at 30,000 USD, making a loss of 1,000 USD, which will be added to the lower trade price of 30,000 USD. 30,000 USD plus 1,000 USD, the effective purchase price will again be 31,000 USD. Thanks to the future contract that he buys and resells, this cobalt buyer has well fixed the effective purchase price of the cobalt. A seller of cobalt will have to adopt a symmetrical strategy, that is, sell futures contract at T0 and buy them back at T+N when he will actually sell the metal.